Warning: the Karma Files, Paranormal, and Unexplained podcast episodes may contain explicit content and language and may not be suitable for young ears. Parental discretion is advised. Have you ever had the feeling that you're being watched? Have you ever heard disembodied voices coming from seemingly nowhere? Have you ever been touched by unseen hands? Have those that crossed over tried to communicate with you, trying to give you messages for their loved ones from the other side? Are you ever awakened at night by the sound of footsteps that stop right by your bedside? And have you seen objects move on their own accord? No? I have. Have you ever walked into a location and felt an eerie sensation? Like something isn't quite right. Being a sensitive, I have had that happen many times. And this happened to me while staying at the historic hotel in Murphy's, California. And I'm not the only one. There is something to be said about a creepy hotel. One that when you look at it, you feel that chilling sensation creep down your spine. This hotel is situated right in downtown Murphy's on Main Street. It has this shadowy aura against this beautiful backdrop of blue skies and wineries. The town of Murphy's, California was established in 1848 by John and Daniel Murphy. They established a trading post and a gold mining operation. Many miners stayed there in tents, and it's been recorded that millions of dollars in gold was found in Murphy's. The hotel later was opened in the summer of 1856. And they have been said to have multiple well-known guests, such as Mark Twain and Ulysses S. Grant. Now, the hotel is said to be one of the most haunted places in California. One such ghost that is well known at the hotel is named Eleanor. Eleanor was a former maid at the hotel, and while working there, she met a miner and fell in love and got married. One day, her husband came to her and said that he was going to be gone for a while, mining for gold, and he wanted her to stay at the hotel and wait for him to come back. Her husband never returned. And it was said that she stayed at the hotel and worked in hopes that he would return one day. Years later, Eleanor died in a fire. And now she is seen walking the ballroom and the kitchen. And she likes to move objects and throw things such as coffee beans at people. Other accounts have said that they hear children's laughter throughout the halls. One employee sees a dark shadow of a man with a hat. There are multiple other experiences of people hearing boots, miners' boots, walking up and down the hallways of the historic Murphy's Hotel. If you stay in the historic part of the hotel, each room has a book where everyone that has stayed there has written their paranormal experiences. One such account was from a man named Mike who stayed there with his family. His wife and him stayed in room 14, his children in room 15. They were told that the rocking chair in room 15 rocks by itself, and his children were excited to stay in there. When they went to bed that night, the children were fast asleep, and the parents in the adjoining room could hear the rocking chair rocking back and forth in the room. They heard this multiple times throughout the night and were expecting their children to come screaming through the door, but they didn't. Later during the night, the parents were awoken by the sound of someone vacuuming out in the hallway, which they thought was odd. Who would be vacuuming in the middle of the night? When they awoke the next morning, their children did not hear the rocking chair. But one of the children went back in the room to test the rocking chair noise, and the parents confirmed that this was the noise that they had been hearing throughout the night. When they went downstairs to check out, they asked the manager at the front desk why someone would be vacuuming in the middle of the night. And the manager said, "We don't vacuum in the middle of the night when we have hotel guests." There was another couple staying the same night in a room down the same hallway, and they also confirmed that they heard the vacuuming also. I was well aware of the history and stories about the historic Murphy's Hotel. So when I booked my room, I made sure that I did not stay in the historic part because I didn't want spirit to be bugging me all night. So I booked a room in what they call the modern rooms for the night. We had come to town for a wine dinner at the hotel, and I wanted to make sure that I was going to get a good night's sleep. We checked in that afternoon and went to our room to put our bags away. The room was dark, very dark, even though it was still sunlight outside. We decided to come back to the room a little while later and take a nap before our dinner party. I laid there in the dark and I couldn't sleep. Later we got up and went to the party and came back late that night We got into bed, and the room was so dark you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. I was able to get to sleep pretty quickly, but as soon as I fell asleep, I started having horrible dreams. I never dream, so this was interesting to me. In my dream, there was a dark mass that came at me and started pulling and clawing at the bed sheets. I woke up in a panic. I remember I was laying on my side, looking down this long stretch of hallway that was a walk-in closet with no door. It was so dark in there, so dark. And I felt like someone was down there watching me. I looked at the clock, and it was 10:41. I closed my eyes and tried to go back to sleep, and I did. And then I woke up again, and I looked at the clock, and it was 11:41. And I thought, that's odd. Exactly an hour later. And I went back to sleep. And I woke up again, and it was 12:41. And this happened every hour on the same minute until 4:41 a.m. I have no idea why I kept waking up at the minute of 41 every hour, but I did. I'm sure every hotel has their mysterious deaths reported. I have no idea what happened in that room, but something did. Something was waking me up every hour. I didn't bother asking the hotel staff if anything paranormal happens in that room. I'm sure they get paranormal stories all the time. But next time, I think I'm going to stay in the historic part of the hotel. And maybe I'll stay in room 15. Or stay in the Thomas Lipton room, which is said to be the most haunted room in the entire hotel. Maybe I'll experience the spirit of Eleanor. It says that she likes to move chairs in front of the window to sit down to see if her husband is coming back. It's said that when she's around, you're able to smell her rosewater perfume. Or maybe I'll experience the smell of the cigar smoke from the miners that is sometimes said to be smelled in the hallways. Lastly, I'll leave you with the story of someone that worked at the hotel named Deanna. She was taking visitors to room 16, which is the J.P. Morgan room. She recalls trying to get the door open for a visitor and jiggling the key in the keyhole with no luck. She kept trying, and just as she was about to give up, the door swung open and the lights in the room flickered on and off. She didn't say whether the people stayed in the room or not after that happened. I, for one, would have. Anna also reports that you can hear talking, like mumbling, in the secret crawl space beneath the hotel's foundation, which connects across the street to what is now called the Spice Tin. It's a network of tunnels down there. She says you can hear mumbling, but you can't hear what they're saying. One night, Deanna was working the front desk. She heard noises in the basement. She snuck down the stairs, but didn't want to look down there because she was afraid the noises would stop. So she took her camera and she took a picture around the corner without entering. If you'd like to see this photo, I've posted it on my Facebook and Instagram accounts at Mind Your Own Karma. I'd love to know your opinion about what you see in the photo. You can DM me on social media or send me a message at mindyourownkarma@gmail.com. And if you have had any experiences at the Murphy's Historic Hotel, send me a message and it could be featured on the podcast. As always, take what you need for your daydreams. Leave what you don't for your nightmares. Sweet dreams. At times, my life can seem like the scariest of nightmares. Believer or skeptic, I know the veil is thin between us and those on the other side. Do you experience the paranormal? If you don't, maybe you're the ghost. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Karma Files, Paranormal and Unexplained. We hope it was love at first fright. If you enjoyed being terrified by my stories, please haunt my DMs on Instagram or Facebook to let me know that you're dying for more. The links are in the show notes. Do you have a paranormal or unexplained story to tell? You can send me your stories to thekarmafiles@gmail.com. And if it gives me the chills, it might get featured on a future Karma Files episode. I would like to personally welcome you to my nightmares. I think you're going to like it here.